So just a couple quick announcements before we jump into our presenters. We have a very dynamic group of presenters from the nonprofit and for-profit side today. We also have a little, if you guys got here a little bit earlier, we had some live music by John Kreigel, who's in the back manning the program. So that's a fun little change up. I was curious to see how that was going to go over today, but it's kind of sick of our old YouTube playlist. But anyways, also Sasha Dodd is joining us on the 1MC team. She's going to be helping us out with social media. Yeah, give her a round of applause. Thanks, man. And without any further ado, for those of you who are new, we got a lot of new people here today. The format's always the same. We're going to do 2 presentations, 6 to 7 minutes each, an open Q&A, and please, we welcome all the questions, all the comments. Stand up when you can. Look for Chad or myself. We'll be running on the sides with the microphones, and we'll pass it off to you. And for the speakers, if you can't hear them, please repeat the question. So our first presenter is Deb with S.T.E.A.M, and she's going to give us a presentation.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks. Hi, I'm Deb Wilson, and I am a hardworking person that's just trying to find some golden nuggets out in the Ozarks Hills. And we're trying to do this through promoting science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math throughout the entire Ozarks region. I'm a retired teacher, but I'm trying to really get the word out about what great things are happening in the Ozarks, whether it be in the school sector or in the business sector or manufacturing or industry, to really become a standout in the whole United States about what's happening in STEAM. Now, one of the things people are familiar with is they're familiar with STEM. They've heard science, technology, engineering, and math. But they say, well, why are you adding the A to it? And with the arts, this Ozark region is very creatively endowed. We have a lot of creative people, a lot of doing some really cool stuff. And one of the things is you think about in architecture, there's a lot of design issues, and that's part of the arts. And then we also have, you have symphonies that work with fireworks that put those two together. And people find really interesting. As Southwest Baptist University next week is holding a computational thinking, a problem-solving tool for every classroom. And they're taking computer science and integrating it with math algorithms to produce music. And I actually get to participate in that workshop next week. I'm pretty excited about that, because that could really change some ways that we teach in the schools. And actually, one of the things we just posted on our Facebook page was a big information article about possibly not teaching calc anymore in high school, but doing computer science. Wouldn't that be a novel approach? Also, in manufacturing, you've got the CAD system. You know, that's a very integral part of the manufacturing, and without it, they would kind of be lost in today's technology. Also, we have, of course, the e-factory as a very integral part of STEAM, and adding the arts is a very important part of it. So now, who are we? We are a group of volunteers, and we are from the Manufacturing Society. We are from the Scientific Society. We are preschool through 12th grade representatives. We have higher education representatives. And we have the informal education and after-school groups. Because our important thing is we're trying to get businesses that have typically done something on one side, education that's done something on another side. We want to bring that conduit together to make sure that everybody is on the same page. So what's happening when the kids get out of school, which business, industry, and manufacturing are always complaining about whether they get out of high school, 2-year programs or 4-year programs, they're not prepared for. And so we're trying to make that discussion happen between the two groups. And then what problem does S.T.E.A.M solve? Well, one of the problems is only 25% of the typical population have kids in school. So how is the general public learning about what is happening in schools today? Well, they're thinking back when they went to school. Well, today kids half the time can end up from graduating from high school with a certification. And sometimes computer science or some other things that are coming down the pike. And that's a really important thing. Score-wise, we're not so good. We are the Missouri assessment program that's given to all high school students, at the end of the year, the ACT benchmarks with reading, English, math, and science, we're averaging 28% of the kids that can benchmark all 4 of those qualifications. And in math, it's about 42%, and in science, it's 41%. And that's pretty sad. And we need to start from preschool on up so that these kids have a good foundation. And some of the highest scores in the district or in the state are actually in St. Louis, and some have some high ones in Kansas City. But why is that? And it's because of all the opportunities they've had from such a young age to be involved with what's going on and tinkering with things. And Springfield has some of those, but we don't have enough. And we want to be able to be the one-stop shop to bring all of our resources within the Ozarks together. If you typically wanted to, as a parent, know to take your kids somewhere for some training or to learn something fun in the science field, you'd have to get on the Discovery Center individually, the Nature Center, the Dickerson Park Zoo, a variety of individual things. Well, my idea was to bring a website together that could house all of that information, and that you would just be 1 click away from immediately knowing what's going on and what you could do. And it could be, too, not just for kids, but it could be like a guest speaker at a university or an e-factory. What are some things that are definitely going on that people need to be on the aware? Because half the time I'd read it in the paper or see it online, and I'm going, I wish I could have gone to that if I'd known about that. And it would be of interest to either me or my kids or, as a professional. And then we want to be able to showcase the Ozarks as a leader in the STEM fields. And we do that by taking those little gold nuggets from all over the country, all over our area, and be able to really showcase the great things that Ava's doing in their technology center. What's happening in Springfield at Glendale's. There's some great things going on. One of the Glendale teachers just did an invention convention at Parkview last week in the summer school, and those kids worked 8 hours a day, and they made and invented different things. And so we want to be able to showcase some of these great things, because the paper can only hold so much information. But getting this to the general public to understand the importance of why STEM is so important, because we are going to get left in the dust if we don't do something about this, educating our people and getting them on the rise of what's happening. So now you go, so what does it really matter? So why is it so important? 2 years ago, I was executive director for Science Teachers in Missouri, and I went all over the state trying to get information about our organization to the teachers, and from preschool through into the colleges, about the importance of science. And what I found is that a lot of the teachers, especially in the rural schools, do not have the resources to be able to stay up with what's happening on the current. They often will Google something, and that's where they get their lesson plans sometimes. And sometimes, especially in the elementary, they don't know what's not good science. They don't have that background, because as elementary teachers, they're not really given but one science class. And so it's really important that we give the people what they need to be successful at. And so one of the important things is the growth is changing. 17% is going to be an increase in the STEM fields, and only 9.8% in non-STEM jobs. And why is that important for us here? Because we typically have wanted to think of reading and writing. Let's get our kids reading, writing, and doing math. And that should be good enough. Well, it's not good enough today in today's global society. We have, I was the 5th one in the state given the presidential award for elementary science in the state of Missouri. And I got to go to the White House and get my award from the president. And it was the first time in the state they ever had a primary teacher in the top 3. I'm a retired 1st grade teacher. And one of my 2nd grade, when I looped with my class one year to 2nd grade, one of my 2nd grade students, extremely high IQ, just graduated from Rice this last May. I was so proud of him. in computer science. But he told me at the end of second grade, he goes, Miss Wilson, I proclaim this to be, I have a proclamation. I said, okay, what's your proclamation? He says, I proclaim this to be my finest educational endeavor in my entire elementary career. I wrote all that down because I thought, I'm never going to remember that. And the whole purpose is I did so much science, and I used science as my hook, line, and sinker to get the kids to love reading and writing and math and showing that integration. And more of that needs to happen. And typically, the teachers want to do that, but they don't have resources or they don't have the knowledge base. NICSA is really on the cutting edge right now. They have a STEAM school that they've incorporated, the John Thomas School of Discovery, which I have been able to go and sub in there a few times because I even though I'm a retired teacher, I still have a kid in college, so I still have to, find some little extra jobs to kind of keep going. But the whole purpose of this is to really just get the word out about the great things. Now, here's where we need your input. We need your time, your expertise, and your money. We need to help you. We need you to help us spread the word about the website, the Facebook page, and the Twitter. And we want to have you suggest to us some resources, professionally wise, because on this, I want this site to be able to where, if you're in as a society of manufacturing engineers, and it just came out, you want to know what groups are around here, you can click on that and go straight to that regional source. And so we want to be able to be that conduit, that one place to go to where you can do that. Well, we're going to need to know what is out there. And being from the education sector, I know a lot of that, but I don't know a lot about the business thing. So we do have some engineers and some other people on our group that are helping with that. But we need your input on that. And then we need to have interactive discussions. We'd like to have our Facebook page when we post something to have actually communication so that we don't feel like we're in isolation by ourselves, that you have some input on that. And then we want to be able to attend our events. Last year, in April, we had gotten a little small seed grant from the Missouri Chamber of Commerce to put on a STEAM summit. And we did that at NICSA last year in April, and where we were able to have the State Department of Education, State Department of Higher Education, both assistant commissioners come and talk about the state of STEM. And then we had to be able to, we had 3 keynote from top executives in the area. We had John Wanamaker from BKD, and we had Jay Guffey from Mercy Hospital and Karen Brown from Brewer Science, that's actually in JVIC, and come and share their concerns on, as an executive, trying to find people in this position that will come. And Karen was talking about how that they had one of their positions open at Brewer Science for 18 months because they couldn't find anybody highly skilled to do that. And so we wanted to be able to, she said they actually had to outsource it to another country. And so we don't want that to happen for our area. And we need corporate sponsorships because we want to be able to get some grant money. We have to get some of our things going. We want to be able to have have our setup as any small business has to do. We want to be able to have events where people can come, and we would like to make this free to the public so that everybody has access to this information. And so we like to have corporate sponsorships to sponsor this. Now, what questions do you have for me?
Bravo. Deb, you mentioned interactive discussions. Kind of elaborate on how the community can really interact with you and S.T.E.A.M and promote the
Well, one of the things just on Facebook is to be able to, like if we post something, I was surprised, one of the biggest comments we had is they were talking about guns in school, and the government in Jeff City was getting ready to vote on that. So we had a lot of discussion about that. But it's just like if something's posted like about why are the arts important within STEAM? And then we have some people touting in. It just gives a community, a group of comments, a place to speak your mind and what you think. And then eventually we would like to have on our website a place where there could be a forum, like a teacher or someone might put in a question, and one of the scientists in the area said, oh, I could answer that really quick. And then they could get that answer to them really quick. And be able to have that interaction and sharing that information with the public. Yes?
Hi, I'm a parent of small children and was wondering what I could do as a parent to help move this conversation forward with my kids and then more broadly with the school district that I reside in.
That is an excellent question, because there's only so much a teacher can do in the classroom, but what the parents are the power. I'm telling you, the parents are the power in a school, because if they go and say, we want this for our kids, then they're going to see what they can do to make that happen. And I know, being a primary teacher that's very interested in the science and use that as my hook line, I was a rarity. Typically, primary teachers teach reading, math, and writing, and that's what we do. But I took it a step further because I used it as my conduit to be able to teach science. And so by giving those teachers some support, say, I love that idea, you know, that was great. And then our Facebook page, I'm always posting anything from, there's preschool activities like glow in the night bathwater that actually a science teacher that's at home with small kids had invented, that the kids can eat and drink and things like that. So we post those kind of things. We post things about manufacturing, you know, that was on there. So it's very eclectic of what we put on our Facebook page.
Deb, you've pretty much laid the foundation for this entire organization. Can you tell us a little bit about what the next step looks like, and then once you feel like the product and the organization as a whole is set, what does that look like, and how will that interface with our community on a day-to-day basis?
Well, every time I go around to talk to people, they would say, I couldn't get into the principal to really talk to him, or I couldn't get into the main administration. It's because they're busy just like any other CEO of a business. And I actually ran my classroom like a business. Each one of those children were my commodities, and I wanted them to succeed as best. I wanted them the best quality that I could possibly get them. And I think most teachers look at that they want that for their kids. But what we want to have done is we want to have a place where the public can go, that they see that great things that are going on in the Ozarks. They have a place to go, the one place to go where you can find anything you want to know about the STEM area, both in business, manufacturing, industry, the PK through 20 Institute, and after school and informal groups, that we're all working together. And what business wouldn't want to come to this area and entrepreneurs start a business in this area? We have a great place to live. We do have good schools. There are pockets of things that are going on that are really great. Let's give those people some shout outs of great things that are going on in the area. And because teachers don't like to go around and brag about, I hate to go around and tell about great things that are going on. But I have to do that because I want the general public to know about that. There are some.
Deb, tell me about the corporate sponsorships, how you're going to approach these corporations, what you present as the ROI for investing in
One of the things that I looked at is, I know businesses want to have, what do I get out of it? Well, MSU is actually hosting our website right now, and because it's free. You know, you have to start somewhere, right? And we had no money to begin with. So they gave us the opportunity to use their, and I went through the training for WordPress, and I'm doing all the work on it. So it's not that great. Eventually, we'd like to have one maybe on our own, because it may not be able to do everything we want. It's been a trial of error of getting to do this. But we want to be able to have corporate, and MSU has given us permission that we can put the company's logo on our website so that people can click on that and go straight to that business. And what company, and eventually I'd like to have our website on every city council's website and county's government website, so that people looking to come to the area say, wow, look at this. They've got all these resources. They've got businesses working with education. That would be a great place for our community.
Not sure, is this on? Okay. I'm a father, and I have 2 kids in the Nixa school district, which is awesome, and Dr. Kleinsmith is phenomenal there. One thing I found was that a lot of even though the teachers are fantastic and they're really in it, they're overwhelmed in a lot of ways. And my daughter struggled in math, and to the point to where I couldn't even get into the teacher, even though I found that she was an amazing teacher. We ended up getting a tutor from the high school who was phenomenal. My question is, have you thought about extending the classroom to some sort of after-school type programs where you could have students, 4 or 5, small group of students, have math classes, talk about what they're currently doing, and not so much focused on actual grades. Even like A's, A students could go, B students could go. It's not like a remedial type thing, but a way to excel and to do better.
That's why we have an after-school representative on our board, because they are making big gains in the STEM fields. Actually, a lot of them, especially in Nixa, Ron Duncan is on our board. And he is on there and sharing some of the great things that they do in their after school. And a lot of times there are little pockets of things that are going on, but people don't know about them.
XLT, and that's very, that's an expensive program.
It is, but we would like, and see with corporate sponsorships, we could say, okay, we're going to send some scientists out, or maybe a company, rather than give us money, they want to say, hey, listen, we've got a scientist, we'll let him out for like 2 hours a week, you know, to come to a classroom or come after school and do some things with some kiddos.
I love the XLT program. I think it was phenomenal,
Right.
but it's thought, I think, more of a type of thing where it's almost just a place to take your kids after school because I'm at work. I would like to see
Right.
it look like a curriculum and that sort of thing. I would pay for that, you know, and I think that, I don't know, I'm excited about what you're doing, and I'd like to know how to volunteer.
Yeah,
because I think
and we do have, when we had that workshop, all the teachers that came to it were just blown away. In fact, over in Republic, one of the art teachers came to it, the music teacher came to it, and she devised a whole summer program in their summer school concerned around music and the arts. So it's just getting that word out to the teachers to take your teacher lenses off and look at it through the eyes of a scientist and look at what you teach.
I just have a quick question about if math scores are down, and as a nation right now we have more unemployed art school graduates that are sitting home with mom and dad, why dilute your efforts?
Because the arts within the STEM bring aesthetic beauty to the engineering process. And without that, you can't do quality work and make it aesthetically pleasing for people to purchase.
That's a great answer, Deb.
Simple question, but maybe I missed it. What is your domain name, and how can people find you?
We are through Missouri State University, so if you get on that and just do associations and S.T.E.A.M, and I have flyers for everybody that I'll go ahead and pass out too, if you'll just take one and pass it out. It gives a lot more further information about our organization. It also has on the front, it has my contact information, our Facebook, website, and Twitter account. I'm learning to tweet. You know, old teachers can learn new tricks. But go ahead.
Well, just in conclusion, Deb, besides getting the word out and helping with some resources, what else can we as a community do for you and do to grow the arts and S.T.E.A.M in the Ozarks?
I think the biggest important is to get on our sites, to see what's going on in the Ozarks, I think, and then spreading that word. We want the world to know what a gem we have in the Ozarks. And to finish up, I want you to go back to that little golden nugget that you have. You know, teachers always have to give you a little thing to think about. I want you to put it in your hand. I want you to visualize it and think about it. Okay, now if you break that same one down, that little gold nugget down into gold, into nanoparticles, you no longer have the gold color, the yellow color. It is red. And this is changing what we think about our knowledge. And what they do with nanoparticles of gold is they inject it into a cancer tumor. They put a laser on it. It kills the tumor, and it leaves the surrounding tissue intact. So things are changing, and they're changing at a rapid pace. We don't want to get left behind. I mean, I'm just going to leave you with something we have coming down the pike, and that is a maker fair. 2 weeks ago, my husband and I went up to Kansas City for a maker fair, and it's strictly just showcasing things that people make. Inventions, there were a lot of 3D printers there. There were go-karts, and people could have competitions with go-karts. There were technology cars, there were dream cars, there were old cars, there were people making jewelry, there were people making spices and things. They had some presentations of different things. And we're either looking at, this is started back in 2006 in the Bay Area of California. And, or we might do an invention creation fair. It just depends on what the board decides to do, but we just discussed that on Monday about going forward. So, and that's my contact information, and you have it on the flyer if you need to contact me or get some other information. But we're really trying to make a difference to showcase the Ozark as a gem, a unique golden nugget in the Ozarks Hills. Thanks.
Thanks, Deb. Hey, we've got some announcements here on the board, but as usual, we're gonna read these. The MATA group meets the second Thursday, which is August the 14th, here at the E-Factory in this room. I don't see Sherry Coker here. any event, that's, I think, typically at 4:30. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. And the real estate investors meeting is tomorrow night at Pasta Express at 6 p.m. And if you're interested, Brad Moncado, wave Brad, there he is. Also, Idea Wake Up is a new thing that Jeremy Adams, our next presenter, is starting. And Jeremy, you may want to talk about that a little bit during your. Anyway, that's this Friday at 8:30. You want to tell them just briefly what that is?
Well, Idea Wake Up is a startup, entrepreneur, idea person meetup. We're going to have breakfast, we're going to have coffee, and we're going to be Skyping in a presenter from out of the area. So each month, last Friday of the month, we'll be doing something that's a little different, hopefully inspiring and bringing startup people together.
Great, thanks. The Springfield Collective is also meeting August the 7th at Coffee Ethic. And Crystal, is Crystal here? I don't think I saw Crystal this morning. Anyway, okay. Anybody know what time they meet? 10 a.m. Okay, thank you. And also John, our guitar player. Where'd John go? There he is right there. Happy hour, 5 to 7 at UP tonight, right? Yep. All right. I asked him to play the Stones, and he played Zeppelin. I don't know what the deal was this morning, but anyway. Our next presenter, Jeremy Adams. Jeremy's got several different startups, and we really appreciate him presenting the Covy app. So take it away.
Okay. Thanks, guys. So I want to apologize. It seems to be the way I always start my pitches, but we had talked about this before. We were supposed to have a fog machine, laser lights coming down, and some really killer music starting to... No? Silicon Valley, it's a show about pitches. So nobody gets it. Told you. Jokes are bad. Okay. So imagine that just happened.
Come on, man.
Coming together is the beginning. Staying together is progress. And working together is success. Raise your hand if you know who said that.
Bored.
Oh, my God. Okay, fine. We have a coffee cup for you then. You already have a coffee cup?
No.
Jeez.
Thanks, man.
So Henry Ford, yeah, it was.
The picture gave it away, you know?
Failures, all of you, no. Henry Ford had a pretty good idea of what it took to create a successful business. And he knew that he needed a team. He needed a team that he could surround himself with to share ideas, to feed off of their energy and enthusiasm. And that's what coworking is about. And that is why we created Originate. Originate is our co-working space. It's here in the E-Factory. And again, we created Originate because we believe that people with ideas deserve an opportunity to try. And they need a kick-ass place to get it done. So that's what we created. Originate is a place that we love coming to work. And in creating that, we invited others that are starting businesses to join us. And that worked. We're filling up. We've got a lot of businesses in there, and the energy is awesome. But with that comes a lot of challenges. Managing memberships, managing conference room time, creating events, sharing contact information between members. So we looked to software to solve that problem, and none of the software that we tried really fit all of our needs. So that's why we created Covy. Again, music was supposed to like stop. No. Yeah. Okay. I just want to set this up for you here. So Covy is a platform for managing co-working spaces, but it's more than that. It's a place where you, with your office down the street, and you've got a desk that's not getting used, you've got a conference room that's underutilized, you can create an account, and you can open that up to be shared. And people coming into the community can find you in the Covy app and book your space and have a place to work. So we had a few things that made us a little different, things that we needed that weren't in the other software, and these are some of those items. Managing multiple locations. We want to be able to open new shops. So we want to manage that from one single dashboard. Locations within locations. We're a little bit unique, but I think we're proving this model of a co-working space inside of an incubator And I think that's going to be something we're going to see recurring throughout. So what that means is our members actually get the same access to amenities that the businesses in the incubator get. So that's a little bit unique and difficult to manage. Multiple business profiles. We start a lot of businesses, and I think most entrepreneurs do, maybe, I don't know. But we needed to be able to create multiple profiles. I think freelancers do that a lot, where you've got one profile that is for one type of your business and one is for another, I don't know. But with that, you can invite teams into each one of those business profiles. So segment your team a little bit. And then integrating a unique credit system. So our vision is that you can become a member of our space, and with that, you're allocated credits that can be used throughout the space. So many credits for conference room time, so many credits for coffee service or soda for your meeting, things like that. So those take away from your credits. You can also purchase more credits. One of the most difficult things about running a co-working space is upselling, just making money off of it. It's practically impossible. So this system would at least give the possibility of selling something extra, whereas if you're approached personally, you'll probably give that away. That's just what you do. This unique credit system, our vision for that also is to share that with the other organizations that are within the system. So you're getting credits for your membership. You can also purchase more credits. As you're traveling, you're going to Colorado, you hit up Denver, you find another space within the app, and you can actually use your credits, and then we will send once those credits are used, then those will be sent back to that space that you used. So what have we created right now? We'll just jump in here. We just launched our MVP last week. That's minimum viable product. It's here in the E-Factory. We have 15 businesses here in the E-Factory and in Originate using the system to book their conference rooms time. We've got one global calendar that you can walk up to a conference room and you can see what's going on in there at that minute. And that's very important for what we do, because a typical setup is, or scenario is, you walk up to the conference room and you see no one is in there, and so you sit down. With our app, you can see that in 10 minutes someone's going to be in there, and you shouldn't book that one, you should go into another one. Details about your reservation, and though it's not implemented yet, reserving amenities is that's not going to spell right, is a very important part of it. Seeing your own personal calendar and then a group calendar. Being able to request connections to the other members within the space. This is very difficult, and that's been proven in this space. There's a lot of people that don't know who is next to them. So I hate to say this way, but essentially a social network within co-working spaces. Don't quote me on that. That's embarrassing. We've submitted our app to Apple. The app is, we're launching with just iOS to begin. We'll improve the model, and then we'll develop out from there. The current app will do everything that the web app will do. You can log in. You can create an account. You can select rooms. One addition that we added was you can favorite rooms. So as you're looking at all of the spaces and rooms that you want to book, the ones that you use most often will be at the top. Creating events, seeing the group calendar as well as your own profile, and then looking up information about the other members of the space. This is, again, very, very, very important. But all of your social profile information for each member is included there. That's the end. Let's start with questions.
Jeremy, I got some questions for you. So,
yes, please.
First of all, thanks for presenting. I appreciate it, man.
You're welcome.
Tell me about the cost structure. So how does the cost structure work? So as a guy who's traveled and utilizes co-sharing offices, am I paying for it, or is it you're charging the co-sharing space? And then can this platform be used to utilize multiple co-sharing places within one city? So there's 3 here in Springfield now. If
Absolutely.
all 3 were on this platform, could I use your platform to book spaces in between those 3?
Yes, that is the goal.
Okay.
That is the goal of the system, is that we have each community that we approach all of them will be on the system, and you'll be able to find those when you come into the town. Cost structure, free for users. Other than a transaction fee, it's free for the businesses as well. They can list their businesses within the system. When they use it to book the space or the conference rooms, then there will be an additional transaction fee on top of that. So that was our only solution for scaling from a small office space that has one conference room and one desk, or just needs to have a conference room that they never use and they want to be able to use it for that. It costs them much less than a co-working space in New York that's charging $450 a desk, and they have endless users. So they're going to pay more based on their usage.
Hey,
yes, sir.
I'm a curious person by nature, so where did the name come from? And also the second part of my question is, what features do you see coming out after the MVP? What do you kind of have planned for the future?
Okay, sure. Covey, C-O-V-E-Y, is a flock of birds, like pigeons or something like that. So it's a group of birds that come together. The logo was designed similar to like a sports team. So again, a team, bringing people together. So that was the inspiration for the brand. And we could find a domain name for it. So that was important. That was important. That's always the first step. Checking things off, can't get it. Next, our next round, our next version will include the billing for each desk. We don't have that in there yet. It's simply just conference room booking and membership or networking. So our next version will have all of what I need for my space is collecting the membership and organizing that, and then integrating the credit system. So nothing, outside of what we've already talked about, nothing that far. That's going to be much farther out as we see it evolve.
Hello.
Hello.
So I'm a security professional. So if I own a business and I'm paying for internet connectivity and I have an internet-worked environment and I'm now sharing out an office space, that provides an access point for people that I don't want to have access to my network. So businesses that are participating in this,
Mm-hmm.
do they enter in this agreement knowing that people will have access potentially to their network? Or do they have to provide a workspace where it has a separate connectivity that's firewalled from their environment?
Sure, that would be up to them.
Hey, Jeremy.
You can easily segment your network with a simple router to get people off on their own side. Most small businesses aren't going to have a lot to worry about there. But I understand your concern, but that would be part of your network infrastructure and your IT department to handle something like that.
So expanding the business, how do you market it? How, obviously, the app is going to market with it.
Yeah.
How do you promote that?
So our current plan, which may change as we see it grow, is a model that's been used and used and used again, is we will manually enter in every co-working space that we know of and have that in the system. So when you're in a city that doesn't know about this system yet, but you have the app, you can try to book that room and it's going to fire off contact to that space and let them know that someone tried to book through Covey and they could really use those services. Current plan.
Jeremy, I got a question and a hard sale for you. Jim Michaels just walked in. He's
he's always trying to
one of
the
the originators of co-sharing in Springfield. So what's the main reason he should be on the Covey platform?
Because we're working together. We're a team. It's bigger than just our space. It really is, and we believe this. I think we both believe this. Is we need people coming into the community. We need them to be able to find our spaces very easily and know exactly what we have to offer.
Yes.
Could an individual join, like a traveling salesperson, so that they could use those conference rooms in various cities without having a home base and just be a suitcase member?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The user side of it, you're basically just creating a profile, and then you can find spaces all over. We have services like that now. There are, like I mentioned before, there is software that facilitates that, that makes that possible. But it doesn't handle the management of the space like we want it to. So just through search, just through the simple search within the app, they'll be able to find a place to work basically anywhere.
On the flip side of that, if you have spare office space, can you contribute your space so that somebody could use your
Yes.
office room?
Yes, absolutely. That's the broader vision is if you have space, throw it out there. It's kind of an Airbnb style. If you have empty, room in your office, turn it into a conference room, throw it up there, and see what happens.
Jeremy,
Yes,
I'm sorry I missed your presentation. I was.
I know. Sure.
I was trying to get here.
I saw you waiting around the corner.
I was working on it with anyway. So you've got a bait out there. When's my space going up on your space, your system, so I can start pushing the room out? What's the date?
That's the what can the community do for me? That's what we need. Right now we need, again, we just launched our MVP here, and now we need to test it with another space and then another space. We will also have a version for corporations that have multiple conference rooms that just need a system to manage that. So that's outside of the credit system. That's internal. You need something to manage the in and out of your conference rooms. And so we're looking for co-working spaces that are interested in this type of system for managing their space, as well as large companies that have a lot of people coming in and out of conference rooms.
I have a small space in Nixon, for instance.
Yeah.
It has a conference room and an office space. The conference room is underutilized, but I use it when I need it, and I have another person that uses it.
Sure.
My question is, to get on your site and become a member, will my conference room need certain amenities in order to qualify? Like, do I have to have a flat screen, or do I have to, is there something there that?
No, you just basically state what you have available and price it accordingly. That's up to you.
So price it accordingly. How would you? I mean, what?
Well,
do you have guidelines for that?
we do not. We do not, because that has not rolled out yet. But once we do, we'll start thinking about how that all comes together. Yeah. Right now, we don't have our credit system in place, so that would be the way of managing that. Is if it's you're going to charge 1 credit an hour, or 2 credits an hour, or whatever fits for you. So we have one simple credit model, and then you can adjust how many credits that you are requesting per hour per day.
So, can you,
Yes, Rob.
let's say somebody's renting out their space, is there a way to rate the users?
The users or the space? Yes.
Not
yes.
just the space, but also the users. So say you've got the traveling salesman, and maybe he's,
Maybe he's a pain. Yeah, yeah. I've got this guy in my space now. Yes. That is on the list of versions, is to integrate a rating system. Absolutely.
So conference rooms aren't for just sleeping anymore, is that what you're saying?
Well, they will also be used for sleeping as well. But
so, Jeremy, you touched on the competitive landscape. You touched on the competitive landscape just a little bit, and the credit system seems to be like your flagship differentiator. I'm sure you looked at your bill for coffee and soda at the end of the year, and you were like, "Holy crap! I got to invent something to recoup some of my costs." Why do you feel like that's the only key differentiator between you and the other?
Well, I don't think it's the only key differentiator. I think it is one that is truly unique, but the simplicity of our system is we've used the others, and They're difficult to use for the management of the space. They're great for people that work for a large company and they're trying to find space in a city. They do that well, but we think we can do it better through the network of people instead of the corporate office that's handling that connection to the space. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
it does. So you have both sides of the coin in mind, is the way that you're attacking the market.
Yes.
So how, or obviously you're talking to co-working spaces now and getting them recruited, but how do you go to the other side of the coin and tell the traveling salespeople that these resources are available to them?
Our hope is that it's going to grow organically and through the connections with the spaces that will start to evolve and grow. You know, that most people that utilize co-working spaces are pretty well connected to people that use co-working spaces. So that's our goal. Besides traditional marketing efforts that we'll look into later.
How do you quantify the credits? Do you allow the business to assign a credit value to a soda versus a conference room to a...
It's not yes, so it's up to them. Your members have so many credits. You're setting up your space. This desk costs this much. You'll get this many credits with that desk. And if you want conference room time, it will take away this many credits each month based on that. But then you can purchase more credits on top of that.
So the business then purchases them from you and distributes them to their...
The user purchases them through the system, which then is held and then distributed to the space as they're used.
Okay.
Jeremy, can you tell us a little bit about the build-out? I know personally you have programmers and engineers on staff with other companies, but for those in the room that are not as familiar with developing a website like this and a platform, can you tell us about like how long it took you to get to where you're at now, well, what kind of platforms you're using, and what that back-end build-out looks like?
Well, this particular product has been a very rapid build. We need it, and we have other products that we need to get back to, and so we're cranking on this very fast. So basically, everything else gets shoved aside, and we're plowing through this as quickly as possible. What was the technology? Technology behind this? So the base system is. Just as we do everything else, it's typically PHP MySQL setup, Linux-based back-end, driven by an API that then also drives the app. So it's our standard setup for app development that we typically use. That is helpful to anyone in this room. But
so is a credit $25, $50? How do you know? I mean, if I come in and I buy 5 credits, and that is, but I'm in Nashville and I'm charging $250 per day for an office or whatever the value is, how's that currency work?
Well, you will set your pricing on the credits, not on the price, I guess. So we'll have a standard pricing structure for credits. So a typical setup, and you can see this on sites now, where you can purchase something for the cash value, or you can purchase credits where you're going to get a little bit more for less. So for 20 credits are, we'll just say that's $20. But if you buy them all at once, it's $18. So then you can use those through the system. So it will balance itself out in the end. But that's also something that is kind of in the works. We're looking for feedback from our members as we add them into the system, how that should work.
Can you reward credits if I use the system over and over and over and over and over and over?
Well, you're going to get credits because you're buying them in bulk. This is the way that should happen.
Jeremy, you're full of great ideas, and this won't be the last time that we
much.
see him present.
This
Some
is
of you guys
true.
have seen him present before, and we're going to make him do it again one of these days, I'm sure. And you also strike me as the kind of guy who, rather than planting a garden, you built an agricultural application, and then you see the need in your own co-working space, and then you created the application to fill that need. So jump off the product for just a second and talk about, identifying those needs and creating the ideas, and then basically using your cohorts, the guys that you're rubbing shoulders with, to develop that into something that you can then use.
So, yeah, that was
loaded.
Yeah, interesting question. So we own a software development company called Verve, and we're in our own space. So Verve is inside of Originate, which is inside of the E-Factory, which is inside of Springfield, and all that good stuff. But yes, we are blessed because we get to think of ideas and go, and we get to create those ideas. Our typical setup is we will partner with an industry partner that knows more about this than we do. So our agriculture product, we teamed up with a farm. So they're actually they have equity in that product because they're so invested in that. With Covy, we are the industry partner. We understand this, and this is what we need. So we're partnering with ourselves on that one. But does that answer your question at all? Yeah, help at all? Okay.
Yeah, Jeremy, on that point, so I guess you're open to capital infusion at this point?
Well, yes, always. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I don't think enough people ask for money in this room. Yeah, of course. I mean, if this is something you're interested in, you'll throw some money at it. Let's sit down and talk. We have other ideas, and we're constantly working on other products, and we're also looking for ideas for products, always. So, yes, thank you. Oh, that just took the air out of there. Right? Everybody's like, what? No, thank you.
Yeah. We aren't gun shy. We're just thinking about it.
Okay.
So, to wrap it up, Jeremy, what can we do for you besides cash? There's a lot of people here are wondering about that. Are you really ready for cash? Is that really what you're looking for? Are you looking for other resources, service providers, people, besides other networking or co-sharing spaces, people with an office that's sitting there? Well, what else is it? Kind of give us a run through on what else it is that we can do for you. We know we see you here all the time, so a lot of people will see you in passing, but what can we do for you? What can we help to build not just Covy, but all of your companies and build this community?
Okay. So yes, the truth is this product's not ready for funding yet. We don't. This pitch was thrown together very quickly, but it will be. It certainly will be. But we're pretty realistic about where we're at with this one, and it's not ready to ask for money yet. What I need for this product again is I need it to be tested. We need companies that are on it, and we need co-working spaces. There's only a couple of those, so we need them on it to try it out and give us some feedback on it. And we would only charge double for, whatever. That was a terrible joke. So that's what we're looking for right now for this product.
So how do we take the action steps to do that? Do we go on the App Store and go ahead and download the app and then?
The app currently is for the tenants of the E-Factory and Originate. We're not publishing, and it's published. I mean, you can find it, but it won't be useful to you yet. The best way to sit down and talk to that is walk down the hall and walk in our door, and let's sit down and talk about what you need and what we can do. If you don't know, Originate is that direction, right down the hall, and our doors are always open, and we'd love to chat.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks.